this is a special start to this episode, simply for those that have found themselves totally brainwashed by the media and the press and all the bullshit that's being spread around. The coronavirus has now, in the UK, actually killed, allegedly, 3 people. This is utterly horrendous and we cannot put up with it. But just to put it in perspective, let's look at a few other statistics. We'll take last year, for instance. Car accident statistics for 2019. Remember that 3 have died for the coronavirus in the UK, allegedly. Well, 1,146 people were killed in road-related deaths, over 3 people a day. 3 a day. And this media bullshit, this newspaper bullshit that's telling you the world's going to end. You need to go and buy toilet rolls. What, have you never wiped your arse before? Oh, excuse me, let's get these put back on perspective, because I do tend to get a little carried away. 3 a day die from car accidents. 3 have died, allegedly, from the coronavirus. Does that put it in perspective for you? Yes? No? Well, let's have another look at things, shall we? 147 workers killed in 2018-19. 147 men or women working died at work. How many's the coronavirus killed again? Just remind me. Oh, 3, yeah. Yeah. Oh, but it's a pandemic, it's an epidemic, it's terrible. We must have it in every newspaper, every broadcast. We've got to put fear into the population to keep them under control, because they're starting to question everything. About bleeding time, if you ask me. At least 78 homeless people died in UK over winter, figures reveal. 78 died from freezing to death because of the government, how they've sanctioned everyone and forced them onto the streets. They died. 78 have died frozen to death because of the government. But they're pushing this pandemic bullshit where 3 have died. Yes, that's right, 3. 78 homeless. Did you hear this sort of media blurge about it? No. That tells you they're working to an agenda, and their agenda is to put you in fear, make you go out and panic buy toilet rolls for some unknown reason. Oh, maybe they've got the cold a lot and well, irrelevant. Anyway. NHS medication errors contributed to as many as 22,000 deaths a year, major report shows. Just remind me again how many have allegedly died from the coronavirus. Oh, it's 3, isn't it? 3. 22,000 died due to hospitals. Sounds like a load of bullshit to me. The DWP has admitted 21,000 people died waiting for benefits. Just remind me how many died for the 3. Oh yeah, 3. Okay then. And 21,000 died there, 22 earlier, 107. Can we see this is a total psyop, and those that are dumb will fall for it because, unfortunately, they've been brainwashed, and the brainwashing makes them believe what they see on the TV or read in the papers. More than 17,000 sick and disabled people have died while waiting for welfare benefits, figures show. How many's died from the corona? Oh, 3, yeah. I keep forgetting because it's such a minute amount, and yet because it's in every paper and every news broadcast, you'd think the world was ending. But no, it's 3. And they probably didn't even die from it. But if they can't keep you in fear, they can't keep control. And they know a lot of you out there are now listening to things like me and reading reports that say it's all bullshit. And you know what? It is nothing but bullshit, fear, propaganda, control the masses by keeping them in fear, and we can continue to rob and destroy them just like we have done for the last 2,000 years. And I've seen pictures of a lot of people dashing out and buying tons and tons of toilet papers. It's like they'd never wiped their arse before. Well, as you can see here, here's another way for you to wipe yourself. Or dry yourself, should I say. And for all those out there that have been stockpiling those toilet rolls, my precious, without you, I couldn't wipe my arse or blow my nose. Maybe I should blow my nose first, though, because if I do it the other way round and wipe my arse first and then blow my nose, that could be a bit shitty. But then again, 3 people have died from it, allegedly. False information found in your post. This was sent to me by someone who posts some of my videos in different places and are on Facebook and that. And other points of information. And this was sent. Content that you shared has been fact-checked by PolitiFact, which means by government-approved statistics. And if it's not government-approved, it must be fake. You can take a look at additional reporting from independent fact-checkers who investigate reports of false information across Facebook. Additional reporting. PolitiFact, no evidence that coronavirus was fake to cover up 5G syndrome. Oh, they're even coming out and telling you. That's the real truth behind it. They've put this 5G bullshit out to cover up, which it means it has exactly the same symptoms as the alleged coronavirus do. And there it is in their bullshit fact check. No evidence the coronavirus was faked to cover up 5G. That's exactly what it was faked for. All fact checkers who partner with Facebook must be signatories of the International Fact-Checking Network and follow the Code of Principles, which means you only put out whatever the government tell you to. If you put anything other than that out, we'll call it fake news. See how Facebook works with independent fact-checkers, government-sponsored, to stop the spread of false news. Watch video in Help Centre. Or just realise it's them trying to cover their own arse because there's so many out there now saying what's really going on, they're shitting themselves, and so they're having to do stuff like this. Non-stick cast iron. The pan on the left is made with a coating called Teflon, created by DuPont, a very evil company. A chemical weapons manufacturer, in fact. Teflon releases a compound known as C8 into the food when heated, proven to cause birth defects, cancer, damage hormone production in the body. In less doses, this massively reduces testosterone in men and causes hormone imbalances in women. They've been trying to depopulate us for a long, long time using every possible method they can think of. Who didn't want a non-stick pan? And now we find out it's full of poison. That's why it's been publicised for us all, to go and poison ourselves, because no one does the research, or didn't used to. Now, more and more are doing the research, and that's why they're having to come out with all this bullshit to try and cover up the bullshit. Where there is love, there is life. George Osborne warns that banks could grind to an economy to a halt by slashing lending if coronaviruses cause firms to fail, as he urges Chancellor Rishi Sunak to vaccinate business in Wednesday's budget. And you'll notice there the key subliminal word, vaccinate, in the hyphens as well, to make you draw your attention to it, because they're going to be bringing out a vaccine that you must have to save the world. But what if everyone's been vaccinated? Then I don't need one, do I? No, you must be vaccinated. But if the vaccine's worked, then they've got nothing to fear from me if I'm not vaccinated. I don't care. You've got to be vaccinated because the poison's in the because it's the government have ordered it. Ex-politician, now banker. Strange that, isn't it? Raised spectre of banks refusing to lend money if firms start failing. Thousands of ill workers and consumers could be forced to self-isolate at home. It means business could be left with no staff and no customers. Just remind me how many have died. Oh, 3 allegedly. And how many died from this and that, and thousands upon thousands And what gets this is how you know it's a false flag. Wanker Chancellor, banker Rishi Sunak must move to vaccinate the economy. See, they've put it in there again. They're pushing the vaccinate thing. Against the shock of a coronavirus shutdown in the budget. His predecessor, George Osborne, warned today. Yeah, because he was asked what's 7 sixes and he couldn't figure it out because he's that thick. The former politician, who oversaw austerity in the years following the 2008 financial crisis caused by the banks, he's failing to add, raised the spectre of banks refusing to lend money if businesses start going to the wall. Well, they don't lend any money in the first place anyway. They merely facilitate a credit to your bond account money, and they give you your bond account money, pretend to lend it you, and then want you to pay them back, just in case you didn't know. He suggested the government should be prepared to underwrite small business with limited cash reserves and use pre-existing national insurance tax breaks for workers stuck at home. Businesses are set to face mounting pressure with hundreds of thousands of workers and consumers facing the prospect of being ill and self-isolating at home to hinder the spread of the outbreak, which has killed 3 people in the UK. 3! It's killed 3! Quick, run to the hills, hide, lock your doors, spray yourself with... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's thousands die from road accidents, thousands die from natural causes, thousands die from the DWP, thousands die from the hospitals, and 3 died from this. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's... okay. It came as Britain suffered a new Black Monday today after FST 100 bombed by 140 billion in minutes. Now, I want you to pay attention to that. 140 billion dive in minutes. Does it affect you? You do have stocks and shares and bond. Oh, you don't? Then you've got nothing to worry about. A free fall not seen since the 2008 financial crisis, because that is what they're building this up to. They're going to build this up, and when it's about to be the point where everyone says, actually, you bastards in Parliament are nothing but lying Zionists, see you next Tuesdays, let's go and hang them. And then they'll crash the financial market to try and stop them being dragged out and hung, drawn and quartered. Because at the end of the day, they have all committed treason. In fact, high treason and sedition, which still carries the death penalty. And that's what they're really concerned with, is if you all find out what's really been going on, they won't be able to stop everyone marching on them, dragging them out and hanging them from the nearest lamppost, which of course is what absolutely needs to happen to them. Every single one of them. And every single royal, of course, because they are just as bad. In fact, they're controlling this shit. Part of it, anyway. As world markets collectively crashed because of coronavirus. Oh, if it wasn't so much bullshit, some actually might believe it. MH17 trial begins today, which was actually yesterday, but, I didn't have time to do it yesterday. Amsterdam. All eyes will be on the District Court of The Hague at the Schiphol Judicial Complex in Boehoevedorp as the criminal proceedings against 4 men accused of shooting down Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 begins. It was reported that MH17 was shot down by a Buk missile while flying over the conflict-hit eastern Ukraine. All 298 people on board, comprising of 43 Malaysians, 193 Dutch nationals and 27 Australians, were killed. Members of the Malaysian media here to cover the story of the trial were given a briefing by Press Secretary for Judge Yolanda Wijnabel on what to expect at the start of the much-awaited trial. Come on, you've got to give me some effort for at least trying to pronounce these ridiculous names. The trial will begin at 10 a.m, 5 p.m. Malaysian time yesterday. Here's a quick look at what will happen at the start of the trial. The accused are Russians Igor Girkin, Sergei Dubinsky and Oleg Polatov, as well as a Ukrainian Leonid Karchenko. Whether they will appear in court or only their lawyers will be present or they would be tried in absentia will only be known on the day. And they're trying to cover up or blame someone for this so that it doesn't look like it was the false flag. Then it was, of course. First Brit to catch coronavirus refused treatment and beat it with her hot toddy. Toddy even. So, this deadly, not as deadly as the government, but this deadly coronavirus that has killed 3, yes, 3. Oh, by the way, 3 died today in road traffic accidents. But we don't hear about that. But when we're pushing an agenda, you'll hear about it on here. The first Briton known to have caught coronavirus claimed he managed to fight off the deadly illness with a hot toddy. Wuhan-based teacher Connor Reed, 25, had been unable to shake off a bad cough and was struggling to breathe when he decided to get checked out at the doctors in December. But he was stunned to discover that he didn't have a simple case of the flu, but was suffering with a fatal virus, which has now killed more than 360 people. Interesting number. Although Connor, originally from Llandudno, North Wales, was terrified he was going to die, he refused to take any antibiotics and medicine. And guess what? He didn't die. If that doesn't tell you all you need to know about this bullshit false flag that so many dumbwits, and I hate to call them dumbwits because they're brainwashed, but that's what they're like. Believe this bullshit. Nurses save lives. MPs tell lies. Backlash as UK MPs get a rise in wages to an eye-watering £82,000 a year. UK lawmakers are to enjoy a salary increase next month of almost £2,500 and will see their pay package rise above inflation to almost £82,000 on top of their expenses, which many of them run up to £200,000-400,000. Just bear that in mind. Prompting anger online from those insisting low-income workers are being forgotten. The automatic pay rise that was announced by the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, as soon as you see the word independent, you know it's anything but independent, on Thursday, means UK MPs' basic salary, currently $79,468, nearly €103,000 or dollars, will increase by 3.1% to $81,932, nearly $106,000 or euros, from 2020-21. And we sit around and allow these wankers to do this. The only place they should be is either in jail or hanging from a noose. That's how we do it in the UK, innit? Lucky it's not in France because they get guillotined, like Macron should be. Prescription charges to go up from next month. Now we've released a coronavirus on you, we're going to ramp up what you've got to pay to get the non-effective antibiotics when you can just beat it yourself, but then again the fear tactics wouldn't work if we let you know that. NHS prescription charges will rise to £9.15 next month, the government has announced. Patients will have to pay 15p more for their medication from April 1st. Because it is a frigging joke. The prescription cost in England is currently £9, after it was increased from £8.80 last year. There is no change for prescriptions in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. It's only the English that we're forcing to pay. In fact, in Scotland they don't pay any at all. The price hike was announced by Health Secretary Matt Hancock, who said it was in line with inflation. You can't put everything in line with inflation. This is just robbing the sick. Calling it in line with inflation. Well, let's deduct what you've cost the country, which is everything you've ever got, you wanker. But the move has sparked a backlash from campaigners who haven't warned it will put more strain on the NHS. Now something rather interesting. Interesting experience on the UK's M1 motorway a couple of days ago. Yesterday, while on the M1 motorway, my car broke down. I managed to get onto the hard shoulder, it doesn't say where it is I don't think, where a car had just recently collided with a truck and the police were already there. While waiting to be got off the dangerous road via the breakdown crew, suddenly both sides of the M1 had no traffic, followed by a truly eerie silence. The police car, with lights activated, went past, slowed down and counted the cars in the emergency reservation. Odd, I thought. Then more police cars and a large convoy of military medical units went past with the police following closely behind. Then, after a moment, the motorway was reopened and the traffic continued to flow. The car and truck that had been in a collision all had soldiers inside it. Later, at the service station, coaches arrived with more soldiers. I grabbed a moment to get into the conversation with them and learned that from all over the country, soldiers were being called up for a weekend emergency practice drill, playing out that what would happen if there was many thousands of dead from the virus and that the equipment that I had seen was a field hospital. You know how things are meant to be. The car broke down and I saw the convoy, otherwise I never would. Nor would I have had the chance to talk to the military on the coaches. This is them getting ready to bring in martial law. Of course, the soldiers are just telling what they've been told, so they don't really know what's going on, so they can only tell you what they've been told. Gates-funded programme to distribute home testing kits for COVID-19 in Seattle. Test kits could become available as soon as this week. Oh my God, we are so lucky to have an entrepreneur like Bill and Melinda Gates that they're ready to provide this testing kit for us as soon as they've released their COVID-19 virus on us. Oh wait, oh yeah, that makes sense now. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will soon begin distributing home testing kits for Seattle area residents who suspect they have contracted COVID-19, according to a new report in the Seattle Times, which will probably actually have the virus on the kit, so you'll test it and you'll test positive because however the kits are going to work, you'll need to have to take it. A swab from your mouth or maybe blood or whatever, and it just so happens that when you're taking your swab with it, have the virus on it. Oh, it's so obvious when your eyes are open. Test kits could become available as soon as this week via a lab funded by the foundation. Could start testing hundreds per day with scaling availability in the weeks ahead. Although there is a lot to be worked out, this has enormous potential to turn the tide on the epidemic of which in the UK 3 people have actually died, and let's not forget 3 die every day in car accidents or road accidents. Scott Dowell, who is in charge of the COVID-19 response effort by the foundation, told The Times, "One of the most important things from our perspective, having watched and worked on this in other parts of the world." Really? When were you doing that then? Oh, you're not going to say, are you? Because you've been doing that for years and years planning this, haven't you? Is the identification of people who are positive for the virus so they can be safely isolated and cared for. We'll take them straight to the extermination centres and that will be the end of the virus. And the identification of their contacts who can then be quarantined to the detention centre where they'll also be executed, Dowell said. News of the test kits comes as confirmed cases in the US surged above 500 across 34. So in the US, there's over 500 people that actually have the virus, allegedly, out of 300 million. Are you getting it yet? Washington State, specifically the Seattle metropolitan area, has been the hardest hit region in the country, with 16 deaths and 128 confirmed cases. The Gates Foundation has spent more than $20 million in this virus response effort and has committed at least $5 million for the Seattle area. Notice they're not telling you how much they spent on developing the virus. Or is that just me? No, thank flip for that. Prince Andrew has completely shut the door to cooperate with the Epstein probe prosecutors. Manhattan US Attorney Jeffrey Berman says that Prince Andrew has completely shut the door on cooperating with the federal prosecutors in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation, according to the New York Daily News. But let's just look at it from another point of view, shall we? And mate, If you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to fear, have you? But by acting like this, it makes it look like you have done something wrong and you're nothing more than a dirty, filthy paedophile. Oh, I think that pretty much explains that then. Contrary to Prince Andrew's very public offer to cooperate with our investigation into Epstein's co-conspirators, an offer that was conveyed via press release, Prince Andrew has now completely shut the door on voluntary cooperation and our office is considering its options, Berman said on Monday at an unrelated press conference. In January, Berman said Andrew has provided zero cooperation on the case. Andrew has been accused by Virginia Roberts Giffey, who alleges she was coerced into having sex with the prince on 3 separate occasions when she was 17. She has also a detailed account of a March 10th, 2001 encounter in which she says she danced with Andrew at the Tramp nightclub in London before he had sex with her. Giffey has also released an infamous picture of herself, Andrew and Epstein, Madame Ghislaine Maxwell, in which Andrew has his arm around her. By the way, where is Ghislaine Maxwell? Why aren't we looking for her? Why hasn't she got an international arrest warrant out for her? A shift in the global financial order is upon us. The collapse in bond yields, exacerbated by the cash in oil prices, marks an end of an era of trust in central banks. Never trusted them. Coronavirus. That will be the first and last time this column mentions that word. Despite the weekend's many developments in the epidemic, there is a new issue to drive the markets, like the dreaded disease. Its effect is to take an already disquieting market trend and make it far more extreme. The breakdown of the OPEC talks in Vienna on Friday, followed by Saudi Arabia's announced that it would abandon attempts to limit supply and instead aim to increase market shares, has driven a historic fall in the oil prices. Have we felt that yet? Is the fuel price down to like 20p a litre? Or more likely 50p a gallon, which is what it should be? No? Okay then. With Brent and West Texas Intermediate crude both down more than 20% when trading began in Asia. This was on course to be the worst day for the oil price since January 1991, when the coalition was fighting Iraq over its invasion of Kuwait. But no mention of the invasion of Iraq, strangely enough. Boris Johnson told, close schools now to stop coronavirus. This will ramp up the fear factor in the sheeple. But what you should be asking is, who told him that? Because I thought he was a private. I thought he was in charge. Oh, silly me. Of course, those above him have told him. Those that are really in charge have told him. Boris Johnson has been told to act fast to stop the spread of coronavirus, with a former minister warning he should shut schools now and ban large gatherings. That's more the reason behind this, I can tell you that. The Prime Minister yesterday chaired a meeting of the government's Emergency Cobra Committee, which is a cobra, which is something that speaks with a forked tongue and stabs you in the back, but stopped short of moving the official virus strategy from the contain phase to the delay phase. There are 4 phases included in the country's battle plan against the infection, and the second delay stage would see people being asked to work from home, schools closing and large events cancelled. At a press conference following the Cobra meeting, England's Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty, Zionist, said the number of COVID-19 cases is expected to increase, initially quite slowly but really quite fast after a while. At least that's what we're hoping for, because we're spreading it as quickly as we can, he may have said in another unattached document. Member of Parliament paedophiles. There are a lot of satanic paedophiles in Parliament who are very frightened right now. They all have direct connections to Jeffrey Epstein, as they accepted bribes from Epstein's to install Jess Stanley into position as chief executive of Barclays Bank. The information which should have been available for disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act has all mysteriously disappeared. Nothing to see here. Move along. Now, Andrew Lewer, MP, the Conservative Member of Parliament for Northampton South, is maintaining total silence over his involvement in the Northamptonshire paedophile ring run by Alison Hampton and protected by Alison Saunders, and the Soho murder Simon Edens. He is also turning a blind eye to blatant criminality, collusion and victimisation of one of his constituents by the satanic paedophile master of the rolls, Terry Etherton, in the so-called Royal Courts of Justice. Silence speaks louder than words, doesn't it, Andy? More on him to come. David Gauke, MP, the Lord Chancellor, Richard Keane, Lord Keane of Ely, Robert Buckland, QC MP, Paul Maynard, MP, Edward Alger, MP, and Susan Ackland Hood, the Chief Executive of the Courts and Tribunal Service, are all maintaining apparent silence over the child-raping, blatant perversion of the course of justice and victimisation of litigants who don't happen to be Freemasons or paedophiles in the courts, for which they have ultimately responsibility, although it is possible that they have been threatening and harassing web hosting companies in the USA and the owner of this website in order to cover up the judicial corruption and paedophilia. I say possible because although the childish letter before claim, which both my web hosting provider and I have been sent by Bent Government Legal Department lawyer Carolyn Clements, mentions the Judicial Office and the Minister of Justice. It's all collapsing around them. It's all collapsing. And this is their last stroke, apart from crashing the financial system, which is well underway. Daily Fail. The last goodbye, but did they get a frosty farewell from Wills and Kate? As virus crisis deepens, Chief Medical Officer warns Britons will soon be told, stay at home if you have a cold. Not if you've got the coronavirus, if you have a cold. You getting it yet? The fear. They say they're ramping the fear, and there's so many out there, dimwits, brainwashed morons that have been dashing out buying toilet rolls and, the missus was saying that she went in to get some wipes, to clean, surface wipes, all gone. Because these idiots are going around wiping all the surfaces with these antibacterial wipes. If that sorts the virus out, what's the friggin' problem? Telegraph. Prepare to self-isolate if you have a cold. Officials warn. Oh no! Self-isolation! Health chiefs take drastic steps for fast increase in virus cases as Italy goes into total lockdown. Can you see how they're pumping up the fear factor here? Total and utter bullshit. But that's how they do it. An ocean apart. The paedophiles. Budget hardship fund for coronavirus hit firms. Okay then. Community sentences to be strengthened. Salmond pounced on me, official tells trial. EU offers Turkey more cash to keep migrants. Well, let's just look at that for a second. Rather than do that, why have you signed up to the UN policy to allow them all in? Silence speaks a million words. On your knees to beat sedentary lifestyle. Express. Britain's chief medical warns mildly sick face self-isolation within a fortnight. Cough, stay home order. Utter bullshit. Fifth Britain dies as UK cases hit 319 out of 70 million. Whole of Italy put on lockdown. So the papers say, so that means it's probably not happening. Pensions plunge on Black Monday. William and Harry, brothers at arm's length, but paedophiles together. Behind the scenes of Belgravia, Julian Fellowes' lavish new Sunday night bullshit. Markets catch a chill. Black Monday sees shares suffer biggest fall since financial crisis. Get ready. Not that it's going to affect us, like. What to watch for in Rishi Sunak's first budget. Well, more screw everyone else. I'm going to give you this, but I'm going to take twice as much back off you over here, but you're not supposed to pay attention to that. Just pay attention to what I'm giving you. Oh, and by that, I'm also putting money on fuel and money on everything else, and I'm going to screw you every other way I can, because that's all we ever do. Now, the fact that this is also in every paper shows you that it is a propaganda push. Self-isolate if you have a mild fever. Next advice. Oh, I'm a bit warm. I better stay. Yeah, I can't come into work today. I think I've got this coronavirus. No problem, stay off for 2 weeks. Doctor's been told to issue with a sick note. You'll still get paid. Don't worry about that. We've been planning this for a long time. I mean, the government's been planning this. I mean, age is ambushing me. Diane Morgan. UK criminal government guidance set to change in coming days, says Chief Medical, in effort to slow further spread of coronavirus, which is absolute bullshit, but we're going to push it because this is virtually our last push of the card. We've got a couple of cards left, but this is our biggest one to try and keep you all down. 5 deaths so far in UK. All patients had existing health problems. Wait a minute. All 5 had existing health problems. All 5 were dying anyway. However, we gave them the virus and now we can say they died from the coronavirus. So the actual figure of dead from the coronavirus in the UK is 0, nada, naught, nothing. But they're pushing this bullshit. Supermarket delivers around the clock to meet demand. How are they going to deliver if the drivers are yeah, you know what I'm saying. Italy extends its lockdown to entire country with people movement restricted to work, health and emergencies. Catch it, bin it, kill it. They are talking about the government, aren't they? Because we have caught them, was just about to bin them, and the rest of it will come. Salmon hunted me, says Scottish official. Woman claims First Minister tried to rape her at an official residence. The Guardian. Heartbreak and hope, the truth about online dating in your 40s. Famous for 15 minutes my week, living as Andy Warhol. Stock markets in biggest fall since 2008 as virus fears trigger panic selling. Get ready, they're about to crash the system. Never forget, every financial crash has been caused and instigated by the banks. Women felt hunted by salmon sex offence. Trial hears. Whole of Italy placed under lockdown in country's darkest hour. Believe that and you'll believe the rest of the bullshit. Deaths in UK increased from 3 to 5 as new victims confirmed. However, all of them had underlying health problems and were dying anyway, so when we inject them with the virus, we could then blame that on them. Germany and Ireland announced a raft of new measures to fight crisis. The Times. Global markets plunge amid coronavirus fears. We're going to blame the financial crash on the coronavirus. That's what they're waiting to hear. Biggest fall since 2008 crisis. Billions wiped off share values. Whole of Italy in lockdown. It's in every paper, so that's how you know it's propaganda and bullshit. Salmon pounced on woman court hears. Age of consent. Prostate cancer hope. Hitachi at royal farewell. Biden moves ahead. Slump in oil prices. Crowd band warning. Mirror. Harry and Meghan farewell. I wish they'd piss off already. Meltdown. Brit pensions battered as virus panic sparks 7 trillion stock market plunge. Now, just for anyone that's got a pension out there or that's investing in pensions, although you're never going to see it unless you're about to get it right now, when the stock markets crash, the prices, if you're paying, say, I don't know, £100 a month into your pension, and that £100 a month was buying 100 shares in whatever. When the stock markets crash, your £100 a month can now buy 1,000 or 10,000 shares. So when it comes back, you're minted. So don't let this bullshit scare the crap out of you. Metro. Tech firms fight virus liars. Google, Facebook, Twitter join forces with NHS to stop the truth getting out if they can. Abbey ending. Bullshit. Philip, Labour is stifling debate. Salmon pounced on me, I felt hunted. Rita Ora, YIO, Lewis Capaldi. Biggest waste of paper there are. We're number one for number twos. Bog off. Boris blasts toilet roll stockpilers as your waste of paper sorts pooping palaver. 3. Cut out and keep bog roll inside. Yeah, really. Anton Deck take peers. How to control blood pressure. Well, don't read any of this shit sheets and you might be able to do it a lot better. FT. Crude plummets 30%. As the fuel prices drop 30%, because I haven't seen it drop 30%. No, because they wait at least a month or two, then they drop it. But as soon as it goes up, whoa, same day, the prices go up. Have you noticed that? FTSE and S&P reeling. New York trading paused. Virus fears mount. Oil prices plunge, sends tremors through battered global markets. Music stops for investors as aggressive debt-driven strategies near their finale. Barclays bosses acquittal, Spurs calls for UK reform. Oh, you mean another bank has been found innocent? Oh, well, I'd never have guessed. You couldn't have seen that coming, could you, really? You'd just never have seen that coming, would you? And finally, what's Forrest Gump's password? 1, Forrest, 1. Did you hear about the 2 people who stole a calendar? They each got 6 months. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked at me surprised. Once my dog ate all the Scrabble tiles. He kept leaving little messages all round the house. Why did the hipster burn his mouth? He drank the coffee before it was cool.